So this is a great shot, right? Got complementary colors for color contrast, the cool blues against the warm fall background, but we want to convert this to a black and white ad. So if I add the black and white adjustment layer, look what happens. This happens a lot with black and white conversions. They don't convert the way you would want them to, because once you remove the color, if they're both sort of equal levels of gray, it becomes a very flat, boring image. So you've always got to locally adjust the subject contrast of the individual areas. So let's say I want to make this car brighter. Well, that was a teal car, so that'd be blue and cyan. So I'm just going to drag that up and then maybe drag that up a little bit. Was the yellows. And I've got to be careful so I don't create noise in my image. But I'd say already we're doing a lot better. I think something like that. And then I will go ahead and add a levels adjustment, because why not? And let's see if we can tweak this without losing too much detail. So I think right away I'm blowing out my highlight detail right here in the hood. So I'm just going to have to leave it there. Command Option Shift letter E, push everything to the top. I'm going to grab that dodge tool, and I want to dodge the midtones just in the car a little bit, because I want the car to really stand out. See how I'm painting that? I'll pull that up to 100% exposure, because I want to make those tires, they look a little flat and muddy. See, I'm making the tires just a little brighter. Make this tire a little brighter, the side of the car a little brighter, this side of the car a little brighter. Like, you have to control all the parts of your image to make it more dramatic. Make the headlights a little brighter just by clicking on them a few clicks. Click, 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 click. Just to give it a little bit more excitement. Now, probably what I do is I hit Command or Control J and choose an overlay or soft light. It's going to make the background a little darker, make this a little more contrasty, minimize that effect just a touch. Maybe I want to hit Command or Control minus and burn the edges. So instead of the dodge tool, I go to the burn tool, and I'd probably go ahead and just change that to midtones, a big soft brush, and just burn around the edges of the midtones. Maybe pull that exposure up, not that crazy. 50% is a lot. Click, click. And this isn't doing a lot. So let's go ahead and go to shadows. That's going to happen fast. There we go. See, I'm just pushing down the background. It's going to make the car stick out a little more. I probably hit the crop tool, make sure it's a square, and it was. And just, where do we want it? Something like that. Command 0. There we go. So we went from this image to a flat conversion all the way to this. Save it out. Okay, now that you've saved this, we're going to create our next version, which is just add a sepia tint, which you know how to do. I'm just going to add a hue saturation adjustment at the very, very top. I'm going to click colorize. There's a ton of ways to do it. This is how we're doing it. By default, it usually comes in with a hue all the way to the far left. Usually pull it to where it looks more brownish, because that's the traditional sepia tone. Somewhere else look a little more brown, but then bring the saturation down from the default 25 to something very minor, like 10 or 11. Like, you just want it to be a subtle brown tint. Turn the eyeball on and off so you can see it once you turn it on and off, but you want it subtle, right? You don't want to be heavy-handed with it. You want it real subtle. 10, 11, 12, something like that. Save this out. Now you need to do this again for this car. So we're going to make a black and white conversion. I want the car to be black, so I'm going to pull down the red. That looks really good. Can I make the background brighter? Yep, make the background brighter. I'm already doing lots of stuff that I like. I'm going to crop it. I'm going to clear the ratio so I can pull this out, make this more of a longer ad. Pull this up, crop out those trees and wires, make it more about the speed of the car. Now here's something you're going to really love. I'm going to hit enter, but I want you to watch this. If I'm on the background layer, I'm going to go ahead and hit Command or Control J to duplicate it. And when I do, it gives me the ability to do the content aware crop. So if I click that, click inside. Now if I just drag this over, because I want my ad to be a little wider, something like that, and I click enter, it's going to figure out how to fill in this white space. And look at that. With this organic material, it did a really good job. I hit Command or Control 0. So there's my ad. It's already looking good. With this stretched out car, probably what I would do is let's select the subject. So I'm going to do quick selection tool, select subject, see if it can figure out the car is the main thing. And it did. Look at that. That's wonderful. I need to put that on its own layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add it to this layer, right? I'm going to hit just add layer mask, and then I'm going to hit Command or Control J. I'm going to throw this away. So now that I've done this, I have the car all by itself, right? Which is perfect because I can select now this background copy, add a levels adjustment layer. I can pull down the intensity of that white in the background, something like that. Call that good. Now I can grab the other components for this particular ad. And actually, as I'm looking at it, I think the cars now needs to be brightened up a bit. So I would probably Command Control click on the car mask, add a levels adjustment layer above that. Look at that. The histogram, even the histogram never lies. Needs to be at least at the base of the mountain. This needs to be at the very top. There we go. I didn't have it up fine enough. So I still want it to be black, but I just want to give it a little more pop, something like that. All right, now let's grab the other two components of this particular project. So this is the ad that we're appropriating from. Again, this is copyrighted material. You couldn't post this anywhere on a public website unless you came up with your own logo and you typed your own text, but I'm not worried about really typing text right now. I just want to think about text and logo placement and some blend modes in Photoshop for after you've created it. I'm gonna grab this first. Remember, you just click, hover over the car tab that you want. Once it shows up, come down and release. Now it's a little crooked, right? And we need a blend mode for this to work. So let's figure out which blend mode is going to work. Multiply. Or screen. Yep, we want multiply. And I'm going to hit V for the move tool so I can slide this over. Command T so I can rotate. If I can't figure out what's left and right, if you need to, just put a check mark beside rulers. And once you have your rulers, you can click in the ruler that's on the left and top and just pull down just to get an idea of what's straight. See, now I can see that's not straight. It's also not large enough. Make it a little larger. And if I hover outside the free transform box, I get that curved pointy arrow, so I can kind of fix that part. Hit enter, and it looks like I need to tweak it just a little bit. So I'm gonna hit Command or Control L. Maybe if I can increase the contrast to make this copied text not look so bad. Yeah, I think something like that will get us there. And then I'll lower the opacity so it blends in with the ad. And then I'm gonna grab the other part, which is this click, drag over, hover over the tab, it reloads, bring it down, let go. And this one we're going to try, it's the opposite, a screen for this one. Command or Control T to free transform. And again, I might need to grab a ruler so I can see what's level, since this was just a scan from an old magazine ad. Enter, Command L, because right, we need to tweak it to get some more crisp edges since we didn't have a lot of crispness there. So what I would say is I like where this is going, but I'd like to see a little better. Now, obviously, it'd be better if I went ahead and typed this out because I want to get this ragged border. And actually, I guess we should do that. But here's how you could quickly mock up something, right? So now let's get and spend the time and do it the right way. Horizontal type tool. I don't want chalk duster. It doesn't need to be that big. I need a serif base font, something that has the little feet on it. And it does not need to be 918. It needs to be capital. Fasten your everything. So the leading needs to be adjusted, right? The space between the lines. And I know you already know this, but when I was editing, I know this is a beginning class. So I wanted to make sure you definitely know where to find your stuff. Remember, these are little mini icons, things that we use every now and then, but not super often, so we don't want them clogging up this big right side panel. Essentially, adjustments, properties, and layers are by far the things I use the most often. Now, having said that, let's go up to Window. Everything you see here are the things that are right here on this right side. So you can see I've got a check mark by adjustments, so there's my adjustments. You see I've got a check mark by layers, so there's my layers, and here's a check mark by properties, so here's my properties. So notice libraries isn't checked if I click libraries and then I come back and look at it, you see it's now showing me libraries. But what happened? My properties went away. So essentially this window is showing you what is live. So if you can't find your character panel, which is the thing that lets you adjust the size of your font, the spacing of your font, the leading of your font, if yours isn't open or you can't find it, which again, it's this letter A, just click character and it's going to open it for you. Whether it was here or not, it would open it for you. You can do that by selecting everything, going over here and adjusting the leading, which again is the spacing between the lines. I'm going to turn off that one, move tool. I think this fasten your everything might be a little too curly Q, so I'll double click it. And it's like, is there another one that I can have that's not quite so? See, right now I'm trying to change it, but I can't even see it. So if I just come over here, I get the same controls and I get to see it. So now I can see what it's changing into. I like that one. Fasten your everything. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this word, just that word, and I'm going to change the spacing between the letters of just that word so it fits left to right with the fasten your. Something like that. Now, when I add that drop shadow, I've got nice clean text. It really jumps out. I can lower the opacity so I'll get a little bit of the stuff coming behind it, which is great. The only other thing I'm missing is that little bar. So I'll come, actually I'm going to click the move tool so I can kind of see what's going on. Move that guide. So I'm going to grab the rectangular marquee. I'm going to grab right beside and pull down, something about like that. B for brush. I need a layer, so I just clicked add new layer. Turn off your caps lock if it's on. 0 for 100%. Command D. So now I have that little bar that I liked. And now I just need to add the drop shadow to it. So all I have to do is click over here where it says effects, hold down the Alt or Option key, click and drag it up, and I get the same exact drop shadow. Now I just need to lower the opacity to the same. So I lowered it to 81%. So I'll select the layer with just this on it, right? And I just lower that to 81%. Close that off. Boom, we have a car ad that quick. And if it's a little too big, not big enough, I think I'll probably select that white bar and the fasten your everything, hit Command or Control T, and just maybe shrink it down a little bit. I don't think it needs to be that big, but I feel like it does need to line up here. So pull a guide mark over. Yeah, I feel like that needs to line up. Hold down the Control key if you need more incremental while you're moving. That way it won't jump to another area. Hit Enter, and then we can go up to View, Clear Guides. There's your ad. Save it. And once you have it saved, and you need to, I'm going to select the very, very top layer, and you need to make this a sepia that matches the other car sepia. Remember the shortcut. I left it open. All I have to do is grab that tonal adjustment, the hue saturation adjustment layer, just click on that adjustment layer, drag it over to the tab that has the car in it that you want, pull it down and let go. And look, it added that exact same sepia to this car. This is really important. If you're a photographer, web designer, graphic designer, and you need a series of images that have the exact same color cast or color tinting, this is how you achieve it quickly. I mean, there's even quicker ways, but this is the best way. Save this out. You're done. Hey, if you like this video, it helps. You can help me. Smack it, whack it, and crack-a-lack it. Take care. I like subscribers.
That's awesome! Whoa! Yes! Oh my god, I did! This is...
Hey, you stayed to the end. You know what that means? You're awesome. I'm talking about you. Now get out of here.